Alright, love, let us continue with Chapter 7, in which Kanga and Baby Roo come to the forest and Piglet has a bath. Nobody seemed to know where they came from, but there they were in the forest, Kanga and Baby Roo. When Pooh asked Christopher Robin, "How did they come here?" Christopher Robin said, "In the usual way, if you know what I mean, Pooh." And Pooh said, who didn't, said, "Oh." Then he nodded his head twice and said, "In the usual way." Ah. Then he went to call upon his friend Piglet to see what he thought about it, and at Piglet's house he found Rabbit, so they all talked about it together. "What I don't like about this," said Rabbit, "here we are, you, Pooh, and you, Piglet, and me, and suddenly, and Eeyore," said Pooh, "and Eeyore," and then suddenly, "and Owl," said Pooh, "and Owl," and then all of a sudden, "Oh, and Eeyore," said Pooh, "I was forgetting him." "Here we are," said Rabbit very slowly and carefully, "all of us." And then, suddenly, we wake up one morning, and what do we find? We find a strange animal among us. An animal whom we have never heard of before, an animal who carries her family about her in her pocket. Suppose I carried my family about with me in my pocket. How many pockets should I have? 16, said Piglet. 17, isn't it? Said Rabbit. And at once more, and one more for a handkerchief. That's 18. 18 pockets in one suit. I haven't time. There was a long and thoughtful silence, and then Pooh, who had been frowning very hard for some minutes, said, "I make it 15. "What?" said Rabbit. 15 what? "Your family. What about them?" Pooh rubbed his nose and said that he had thought Rabbit had been talking about his family. "Did I?" said Rabbit carelessly. "Yes, you said—" "Never mind, Pooh," said Piglet impatiently. "The question is, what are we going to do about Kanga?" "Oh, I see," said Pooh. "The best way," said Rabbit, "would be this. The best way we would oh goodness. The best way would be to steal Baby Roo and hide him. And then when Kanga says, 'Where's Baby Roo?' we say, 'Aha!'" "Aha!" said Pooh, practicing. "Aha! Aha! Of course," he went on, "we could say, 'Aha!' even if we hadn't stolen Baby Roo." "Pooh," said Rabbit kindly, "you haven't any brain." "I know," said Pooh humbly. "We say, 'Aha!' so that Kanga knows that we know where Baby Roo is. 'Aha!' means, 'We'll tell you where Baby Roo is if you promise to go away from the forest and never come back. Now don't talk while I think.'" Oh my goodness, someone's very xenophobic. Pooh went into the corner and tried saying, "Aha!" in that sort of voice. Sometimes it seemed to him that it did mean what Rabbit said, and sometimes it seemed to him that it didn't. "I suppose it's just practice," he thought. "I wonder if Kanga will have to practice so as to understand it." "There's one thing," said Piglet, fidgeting a bit. "I was talking to Christopher Robin, and he said that Kanga was generally regarded as one of the fiercer animals. I am not frightened of fierce animals in the ordinary way, but it is well known that if one of the fiercer animals is deprived of its young, it becomes as fierce as two fiercer animals, in which case, 'Aha!' is probably a foolish thing to say." And there's a picture here of Kanga just hopping about. I like it. You can see her. She's very small in that picture. And of course, the other picture of Piglet whispering something to Rabbit. I like it. "It is because you are a very small animal that you will be useful in the adventure before us." Piglet was so excited at being useful that he forgot to be frightened anymore. And when Rabbit went on to say that Kangas were only fierce during winter months, being at other times of the year affectionately of disposition, he could hardly sit still. He was so eager to begin being useful at once. "What about me?" said Pooh, sadly. "I suppose I shan't be useful." "Never mind, Pooh," said Piglet comfortingly. "Another time, perhaps." "Without Pooh," said Rabbit solemnly as he sharpened his pencil, "this adventure would be impossible." "Oh," said Piglet, and tried not to look disappointed. But Pooh went into a corner of the room and said proudly to himself, "Impossible without me. That sort of bear." "Now listen, all of you," said Rabbit when he had finished writing, and Pooh and Piglet sat listening very eagerly with their mouths open. This is what Rabbit read out. "Plan to capture Baby Roo. General remarks. Kanga runs faster than any of us, even me. More general remarks. Kanga never takes her eye off the Baby Roo, except when he's safely buttoned up in her pocket. Therefore, If we are to capture baby Roo, we must get a long start because Kanga runs faster than any of us, even me. See number 1. A thought. If Roo had jumped out of Kanga's pocket and Piglet had jumped in, Kanga wouldn't know the difference, because Piglet is a very small animal, like Roo. But Kanga would have to be looking in the other way so as not to see Piglet jumping in. See number 2. Another thought. If Pooh was talking to her very excitedly, she might not look the other way for a moment, and then I could run away with Roo. Quickly. And Kanga wouldn't discover the difference until afterwards. Well, Rabbit read this out proudly, and for a little while after he had read it, nobody said anything. And then Piglet, who had been opening and shutting his mouth without making any noise, managed to say very huskily, "And afterwards? What do you mean?" "When Kanga does discover the difference." Then we all say, "Aha!" All 3 of us? Yes. Oh! Why, what's the trouble, Piglet? Nothing, said Piglet. As long as we all 3 say it, said Piglet, I don't mind, he said, but I shouldn't care to say, "Aha," by myself. It wouldn't be nearly so well. By the way, he said, you are quite sure what you said about the winter months. The winter months? Yes, only being fierce in the winter months. Oh, yes, that's all right. Well, Pooh, see what I have to do? See what you have to do? No, said Pooh Bear, not yet, he said. What do I do? Well, you just talk very hard to Kanga so that she doesn't notice anything. Oh, what about? Anything you like? You mean like telling her a little bit of poetry or something? That's it, said Rabbit. Splendid. Now, come along. That was my Nixon Rabbit. It was really bad. Splendid. Now, come along. So they all went out to look for Kanga. Kanga and Roo were spending quite the afternoon in the sandy part of the forest. Baby Roo was practicing very small jumps in the sand and falling down mouse holes and climbing out of them. And Kanga was fidgeting about saying, just one more jump, dear, and then we must go home. And at that moment, who should come stumping up the hill but Pooh? Alright, my love, we'll finish the story tomorrow. I find it very odd, the character of everybody in the story, especially Rabbit. Oh, goodness. But here's a wonderful picture of Kanga and Baby Roo, just jumping in holes and learning how to jump. I think it's all very adorable. Well, then we'll finish it tomorrow, and it'll be wonderful. Alright, Christine. I love you. Keep calm, sleep well, find a llama, carry on. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Or soon. Hopefully sometime soon. Hopefully tomorrow, if that's possible. But I don't know. I'll talk to you soon then, love. Oh, and by the way, I will likely be coming home shortly after December 18th. That is when all the exams are over, and that is when I'm getting my ticket booked. As soon as possible after that. I love you, Christy. Sleep well, keep calm, find a llama, carry on, and I'll talk to you soon. Good night.